Hey guys, it's Natasha, and welcome to Natasha's Creations. So I'm dressed up because it's Halloween, and I'm a witch. I've got a wand and a hat and a little creature, and a bunch of crystals, and a black cat. This is Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service. But this isn't a Halloween video. I'm just going to a Halloween party after this. And I might not have time to edit this video tonight, and in the rest of this video I'm wearing a completely different outfit because I filmed that last night. So, this is a video about hamster myths and misconceptions. So, Hamtaro is not the first hamster I've had. He's actually the fourth, but I had one when I was 4, one when I was 5, and one when I was 9, so they weren't really my hamsters. They were more like my mom's responsibility. Hamtaro is the first hamster that is 100% my responsibility. When I had other hamsters, it was back in like the 90s and like early 2000s when like having a hamster was like the trendy pet. They just kind of like sat in a cage or in a ball and were fun to watch. But over the years we've learned a lot more about hamsters, and so I'm making this video to educate you on new hamster information, because a lot of what people know is really outdated. I'm filming in America, so if you're from another country, like I know in Europe they're even more advanced in their hamster research and knowledge, so if you have any more information, please comment down below. Okay, so let's get started. So the first hamster myth is that they don't need a lot of space, and this one is propagated by a lot of pet stores, and it really makes me mad because the cages that they sell in pet stores are mostly marketed toward children. And I'll get into why hamsters are not really good pets for children anyway later on in the video. But that is a huge lie. Hamsters actually need very large living spaces. When I first got Hamtaro, the standard that I found online was 360 square inches, and now it's 490, and I've only had him for like 6 months, so information's always being updated. So always keep track of that. But yeah, so right now it's 490. And they also need really large wheels, so make sure that there's a lot of space in their cage for wheels. A 6-inch hamster, like a Syrian hamster, would probably need about an 8 to a 12-inch wheel. Hamtaro's is 11 inches, and a dwarf hamster will probably need about a 6-inch wheel. And that's because if the wheel is too small, they'll still run on it usually, but it'll curve their backs, and that could cause a lot of issues with them later on in life, so you don't want that. Number 2 is that hamsters belong in hamster balls and cages all the time, and that's also not true because hamsters were just domesticated about 100 years ago, so they're really still used to being out in the open and like in the wild. I mean, I know like the hamster you get at a pet store hasn't been in the wild, but their instincts are still there. So it's not really good to keep them caged up. They can get really bored and start hurting themselves or causing a lot of trouble. So definitely let them out at least once a day, maybe every other day. I know Hamtaro doesn't really like coming out every day anymore. He's kind of gotten tired of that, but when he wants to come out, he definitely lets me know. And hamster balls are actually really controversial these days. Some people think it's not safe and inhumane. I'm not exactly sure why. I know I don't like letting him in a ball for too long because he runs into things, and I don't know, I feel like that could hurt him, so I keep an eye on him. Always watch your hamster when they're in the ball because they can fall down the stairs or hurt themselves. So yeah, and then there's also free ranging, which is letting him run around freely in a safe room that has been hamster proof. The third misconception is that hamsters bite a lot. That can be true. It depends on the personality. When I bought Hamtaro, I tested out a bunch of different hamsters, and there were some that tried to bite and were very aggressive, so You go get a hamster, make sure that they let you hold them or pet them in the cage so that you can tell what their temperament is, because some hamsters are more aggressive than others. I mean, as long as you treat them right, they will have no reason to bite you. Okay, the fourth misconception is one that I learned back when I had my third hamster. I was 9, so I started actually doing some research into hamster care, and I got this book at the pet store. And it said that to pick up a hamster, you basically like claw them. Turns out that's not true, because hamsters are prey animals. So in the wild, that's how a bird would pick them up, or a bigger animal, and try to eat them. So they do not like that. It really scares them. The correct way would be to either let them crawl onto your hand naturally, or to scoop them up. If there's like some kind of emergency, or they got in somewhere that they're not supposed to be, or you have to pick them up really quickly, then it's okay to claw them and like put them right onto your hand. But make sure that the hamster's tame when you do that, so that it doesn't scare them. The fifth misconception is that hamsters need salt licks. I'm not really sure where this came from, maybe because they like sunflower seeds, or like they need minerals or something, but don't actually get your hamster a salt lick. That's way too much salt for them, and it's not good for them. Occasionally give them like a sunflower seed or something that's a little salted, but yeah, don't over salt your hamster. The sixth myth is that hamsters are boring and low maintenance animals. This is far from the truth. They're nocturnal, so you're not really going to get to play with them during the day if that's what you want, but they're not low maintenance pets. I don't think there's any low maintenance pets. Hamsters require a lot of work. You have to make sure that they're eating right, exercising, always do your research on hamster care, and clean their cages regularly, health check them. Like, it's a lot of work. The seventh misconception or myth is that hamsters attract other rodents. I guess that one kind of makes sense because they are rodents, so you probably think that like if you have a hamster, they're going to attract mice and rats into your house. That's not really true as far as I know. We keep Hamtaro's food sealed and in his old bin cage, so yeah, I mean, we haven't had a rodent problem so far. Number 8 is a half misconception, and it's that hamsters need companions. I know people who have thought that their hamsters were lonely, so they got them a friend, and that wasn't really a good idea. Well, it depends on the hamster. So if you have a Syrian hamster, they are 100% solitary. They barely even like interacting with people. Do not get them a friend. If you have a dwarf hamster, or maybe a Roborovski too, you need to get them a friend because they will get lonely and depressed. So they should be bought in pairs. But a Syrian hamster should be all alone. Number 9 is that hamsters are dumb, and that is not true. I mean, obviously they're not like as smart as dogs or cats, or even as smart as rats. Rats are super smart rodents, but they do require mental stimulation because they are pretty intelligent animals. And to give them that stimulation, you can let them outside, free range, explore, and give them puzzle toys. There are YouTube channels that teach you how to make them, and I haven't actually bought him one. I usually just make him out of like toilet paper rolls or other toys that he has lying around. Just kind of like stick some treats in there and let him try to figure it out and open it. So that'll keep him entertained for hours. The 11th myth is that hamsters make great pets for kids. I said that was a trend in like the 90s and early 2000s, but it's not really true because kids go to bed early and hamsters are nocturnal, and hamsters do require a lot more work than people think, and they're not very great for kids to handle, like physically handle, because they're very delicate and you really need to tame them well and know exactly what you're doing when you hold a hamster. So it's probably not a good idea for a kid to have a hamster as a first pet for themselves. Number 12 is that hamsters are pocket pets. That's not true. I think the only actual pocket pets that exist are like sugar gliders. Hamsters do not like being held very much. They are very active. Some of them are more cuddly than others, but in general, don't just like stick them in a pocket and bring them places because they won't be happy. Plus, They sleep during the day, so where are you gonna bring them? Carrying them around the house, you can put them like in a pouch, but they're not really gonna want to stay there for too long. So no, they're not pocket pets. Myth number 13 makes me very angry, and that is that hamsters don't need to go to the vet. And that's not true at all. There are plenty of vets that treat hamsters, you just have to find them. I know a lot of people who are just like,
oh no, you don't bring a hamster to the vet, that's ridiculous. Just bring them back to the pet store if they get sick or whatever.
No. If you notice any signs of an illness or injury in your hamster, please bring them directly to a veterinarian. Finally, number 14 is that hamsters smell. Their urine does smell a lot, especially if they have diabetes. It's a very strong odor. Luckily, my hamster does not. But as long as you clean their cage, spot clean it every day, and then clean the whole thing out at least once a week or every 2 weeks. And hamsters are actually super clean. Like, Hamtaro grooms every few minutes. It's ridiculous. So they will keep themselves clean. And of course, make sure you give them a sand bath every once in a while. I have mine always in the cage, and that also helps to keep them nice and clean. So those are my hamster myths and misconceptions. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really hope that you learned something. And happy post-Halloween. Yeah, I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.